And welcome to Burn the Stockpiles. I'm here with my co-host and a very special guest. So say hello, Dominic.
Hey, and who's that guest you're talking about?
From across the pond, we have with us Ollie C. It's Cornish, right? Mr.
Cornish,
Cornish.
yes, yeah.
Why would we bring you on this show? I don't know. Why did we bring him on this show, Dominic?
Well, he's done a few things for KeyForge. Just he's a big fan of the game, I hear, and has taken some of the cards, and some people would call it extending the art. Others would say making the cards just a full bleed, or just making them just look gorgeous. And Ollie, why don't you tell us why you think you're on the show?
Well, yeah. So I create art alters for the cards, make them unplayable ever again from a Keyforge standpoint. But yeah, extend the artwork from the original art, which is gorgeous in Keyforge, and I change it into a full piece of artwork as a playable card.
What kind of paint do you use for this? Is it acrylic or
It's just normal acrylic, yeah.
watered down, I'm guessing? Do you dilute it?
Diluting it a little bit, yeah, because otherwise it won't stick
Right.
properly, and it creates texture.
So I got quite a few questions, and like let's start right back from the beginning. Like, what got you into KeyForge, and then after the fact, what got you saying, you know what, I really want to extend the art on the cards? Like, what was the first one that you decided, hey, I'm going to try this out? And have you ever dabbled before on stuff like this?
So I got into Keyforge because my brothers are really into card games. I've never actually touched a card game or a board game really in any form at all. And then I bought my first deck and was instantly hooked. I don't like building decks, so this was perfect for me. And card alters, I've never actually done a card alter before, but I love painting and stuff like that.
Do you have any
So
training in painting? Like, did you go to school for art or anything, or is this just a passion?
yeah, no, I've been painting since I remember, and before I went to college to art, and then went to university to do 3D animation, and then I prefer the art, so I've stuck to that.
That's awesome. Like, this is something I'm actually thinking about trying to go back to school for now is to, like, because I was an art major when I first started my college journey, and then I went into business, and then I switched over to like broadcasting stuff, and now I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I got all the tools I need now, other than being able to do my own graphic art. So I applaud you for following that and doing it because I know that it's a tough field. With all that said, you do amazing work.
I'm a little bit frustrated when Ollie is saying that, oh, this is his first set of cards, like he never did this before, and I'm looking at the beautiful art that we're about to show, and I'm like, I could never be able to do what Ollie does here. It's just fantastic. It really is a very cool thing that no one else has done for Keyforge.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've always seen them for like Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and stuff, and the artwork for Keyforge is just amazing, and like it's like a really unique style. So I thought it'd work perfectly for this game. Like every deck is so unique, so like it like just fits perfectly for the game as well.
Yeah. So is there an artist that you favor for Keyforge?
Um, yeah, balance sheet is really good. I really like all of his cards. And then there's also Michael Gorgio. I'm probably butchering his name. Italian artist who did all the sins, all the yerks, and all like NARP and stuff like that. It's amazing. Huge amounts of detail in it.
So we finally found value for NARP. His
Some
artwork.
really nice artwork.
Yeah, the artwork is definitely nice for that. No, that's very cool. Yeah, and we've had a few of those artists. We've covered their art, of course, and I know that you mentioned, for example, Balance Sheet, and Balance Sheet was very interested in potentially coming on and talking with us. It's just trying to find a time and schedule. And of course, the name of this, Burn the Stockpile, is inspired clearly from one of his awesome cards. But let's jump in and talk about. I think the first one you wanted to talk about was a little bit of a stealing card here from a certain Sneaky Shadows house.
In the Age of Ascension, there was a Ronnie Wrist Clocks. So yes, this was like you said, one of the first pieces you ever did, right?
Yeah. It's one of my first ones, and I was very excited to do it. Once I first looked at it, I was very confused on what to do with it.
Hmm. Well, I think you figured it out because this is amazing. I cannot even tell where like the acrylic starts and the graphics go. So like, kudos on that. That's like
Thank you.
crazy.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's one of those cards that just it looks so hard to like see what is Ronnie doing in this scene, and then you have to like really think about what he could do, like why is he in this like alley and stuff like that. Having to put in like try and find the original artwork, see any like the concept art and stuff behind it. It's quite good stuff from the original artists, so it's very useful to see all that.
So when we're basically doing the show, we always make stories up. So what is the story that inspired you here? Like, what is he doing?
From my like the classic, oh, you want to buy a watch,
Yeah.
like brings out his cloak, yeah. Dingy alleyway, bunch of stolen artwork, stolen watches and stuff like that, and just selling you down this alleyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have. I'm a huge gameaholic, and there's a certain video game series called Resident Evil, and I don't remember if he's just called the vendor or the merchant or whatnot. But there is literally a famous. I say famous, but this is coming from a video game nerd. There is a character that every time you go up to him, he'll say, "What are you buying? What are you selling?" And he literally opens his cloak in this exact fashion that Ollie's mentioning about. And this ties in a lot. I love the idea of a shadows creature just being shady in this format, and I love what you did with the extension here. So I'm quite curious to see like what elements you added, like Jupiter was mentioning.
So one of the things that I noticed in your piece, and I'm going to point out right away, is that intrigues me is the footsteps. Are those footsteps? I'm assuming like the water. It looks like
Yeah, that
recessed
was the
footsteps.
initial idea. Yeah.
So what is the story behind this? Like I see a cloaking device on top of the box, like one of the shadows cloaking devices, and there's like footprints, but we can't see anybody. So is he talking to an invisible shadows person?
Well, yeah. So like, I'm always thinking like he looks like he's always on the move, kind of thing, trying to evade. Someone's trying to stop him, all that. So it's him just running around all the time, and like it's like maybe like a sting operation or something. Try and catch him for once. The elusive the elusive Ronnie wristlocks.
Okay, so whose footprint is that? Are you saying that's his foot just like repositioning to run?
Yeah, that was the idea.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. It's cool to be able to talk to the artists on these things because it's
I
like,
do like the idea of the invisible, the invisible customer.
yeah, I was just thinking that because I see the piece that's like on top of the on top of the chest there, and it's just like somebody standing there. But like you'd only see one footprint, and that's kind of weird. So maybe it makes more sense for you on the pivot. But initially, I was just like, is there somebody walking up to him invisible? That's awesome. They're gonna buy a watch. It's like a
Yeah, it's a very cool little story, and I love that because I find that each card already has lots of details and hidden gems in it, and you extending the art and just adding those additional elements like that is a very cool process. So I was wondering, can you tell us like how long does the extension of the art like this normally take you? It probably varies between cards, but like for example, for this one, do you remember how many hours or how much time it took you from concept into finalizing it?
So with this one, it took me a long time. Like it took because it took me about 14 hours altogether
hmm.
with concept and stuff like that, which is definitely the longest one I've done.
Oh, it was your
Um,
first one, right? So
it was
you were
also one of my
teaching
first,
yourself.
yeah.
You're teaching yourself how to do it.
So yeah, there was so much going on, like learning how to actually tell a story, change, do the artwork, like and fit the scene properly. Trying to match all the colors, learning all of this on the go. So like this is definitely the longest one. I've redone it and done a newer version of Ronnie, and it's about 4 hours altogether. It's probably one of the most detailed cards that I've been painting.
Yeah, I could see it. Like this has definitely got a lot of texture to it. Like you do a good job with your shadows and your light work. A lot of things happening here. Like even like the reflections in the water and stuff like that, very strong. The misty like fog type element is well represented here as well. You know, you extended the corners up and stuff, and it looks like natural. It looks like an extension of the card. Like I would like to compare it to like the actual full art that the artist did and see how much you know.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at the full art artwork, it's like I'm always having to refer to the original artwork
Mhm.
and stuff, and so they're always a bit They are extended than the original than actually on the card, so they're a little bit zoomed in on the actual cards.
Yep.
So you get to see a little bit extra, but because it's vertical, you've got such a large frame on the bottom to have to imagine and create, which is quite fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, and your perspective is great. Like, you kept it like the linear perspective, like looks perfect. Like, it looks like right on point where it needs to be to create that extra depth too. So, this is like Stokey is like I love talking with you because you're an artist. So like you know what I'm saying, and it doesn't sound crazy. Like,
Yeah,
but
And then you just have someone like myself who's definitely not an artist but can appreciate the art, and I can see why people would love to get their hands on stuff like this. It may ruin this deck, but we all have maybe a rubbish deck or two of which will have great cards like this in, and I think having this would be fantastic. And I think something maybe as Keyforge starts to pick up in the years is that this type of work is absolutely fantastic in the RPG setting, which is something we don't talk about enough. But having this and adding a little bit of additional art, or someone just extending one of their favorite cards, like it's a pretty beautiful piece for sure.
I haven't actually thought about the RPG, like using it for RPGs and stuff.
go through the book and just make all of them into extended arts and sell them as a pack, and that would probably sell. Like it would probably get you some hits if it was worth it to you. And I would suggest making an original and then making like Photoshop, not Photoshop, but
Yes,
copies of it,
so
and
that's the
make
next step. I'm going into doing scans of the cards instead of
yeah,
doing originals.
yeah, that'd be fun. All right, so like I think we've seen all we could see for Ronnie. So why don't we move to the second card that you've brought with you for us to look at, and that is Armageddon Cloak.
Well, Armageddon Cloak is already has gorgeous colors that you see here for this Sanctum card, and so it's interesting what you've extended here in the card itself, and adding that flare that's not there at. I don't think it's there at all, which is so behind the actual Sanctum creature, we have this. I'm not even sure. It almost looks like it could potentially be a creature, or it could be, I would almost say, the Armageddon Cloak extension itself. I'm curious what that, I'm going to call it a C shape. It almost looks like a tail shape thing is, because I want to say it looks like it's almost part of the cloak, but it doesn't have the electricity coming from it. I'm wondering if it's just a added thing, or if there's something that I'm missing of what exactly that is.
So with the Sanctum Knights, they always have their arc behind them. It's a part of armor. I've had to just kind of make it up their own. All the knights, Sanctum Knights. I can't remember his name. I have to find it. And how each piece of the armor works and everything. It's really amazing. Like all the technology and all that. So that his aura.
But I see here is like I do see the energy coming out of the back and making this aura and like basically giving him his protection. And I also see like he's pulling the cloak across his chest, which is part of the art and stuff. But the cool thing I like with the aura extension that you made is that you use the circular pattern to kind of like take that empty space in the top of the card and bring it back to the knight. I'm a big fan of like when artists make decisions and like the impact of the bolts that are coming in being straight and direct like that, it kind of pull you straight to the knight as well. And then his aura, which is protecting him, is also curving back around to the knight and making like the knight the center point of this piece of art. And then you also did a great job with the light effect in going into the void, basically, because you basically gradiated the darkness into the light of what would you expect coming from Sanctum. And so this gives you that epic, like, this is definitely like probably a disc creature with the purple like tones, which is what they kind of set you up with, or like the amber that they're basically flinging at this knight. And so it's like, to me it just reads of like light versus dark, and I think it's pretty crazy. So after I put that 2 cents in, Dominic, what has that changed anything about your feelings?
No. I just I totally once Ollie mentioned that it's the Knight's aura. I can totally see that now, and I believe the concept artist that you were referring to is, if I could be corrected if I'm wrong here, is David Kegg.
David Kegg, that's the one. Just found it, yeah.
And so David Kegg, he actually did the concept art for all the viewers out there. He did the concept art for the 7 original houses, and Ollie's absolutely correct that he put in a little bit of notes for all the houses. I found the Mars ones, for example, very entertaining. And now that you mention it and talking about the aura for the Sanctum creature, and what you added here for a Sanctum creature that we're not sure who this is, and you've now gone and extended it and made your own aura for this Sanctum hero. Basically, it is very interesting and fascinating, and it's a cool concept. I really like that idea, and I could see where Jupiter is saying why he's very much appreciative of it as well.
Pretty simple, but like in its simplicity, it's beautiful, right? Like again, like all the focus is on the knight still, and what you did really accents the knight in a way that like definitely puts him in the heart of battle. So again, well done.
Yeah,
Like we're
didn't want to draw away from the main focus too much.
yeah, it's well done. Like very clever,
Thanks.
clever use of light and dark there too. So very, very impressive. So now we move on to the Philosophosaurus. Basically, was one of the key marks for that expansion when it was coming, and this card is absolutely amazing. And this one got some pretty awesome extension work here. So this one, I could see you starting to come into your element more. Like I see it being more refined and stuff. I'm very excited about that, and especially because it's like Roman themed, right? So you've hit your renaissance here, I think, where you finally kind of clicked with it, I think. And the color work, the scaling details, and like the depth of your layering with the way the tail looks, because I know that's all you at that point, like just phenomenal. And then your blending of the art with the paint again, like flawless and amazing. So I'll stop talking now and let Dominic get his pieces in, because I hate to steal his thunder.
Oh no, you're not stealing my thunder at all. I like this card quite a bit, like Jupiter was saying, because there is so much added extra here. And what's really awesome about this card that I enjoy, the art from the artist that originally did it is already beautiful, and you just were able to extend it and add in the bottom half of this great looking card and making it look just as fantastic as the top half. And as Jupiter was saying, the tail is excellent looking. I love that it has on the like, I don't know what you would properly call it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. It almost looks like it has the jewelry, because I was about to say ring, but the jewelry on its tail, really custom, going with the Sauron all together, and everything's just fantastic. Like the biggest thing here, like Jupiter was mentioning, is that if someone said like, hey, does this look like 2 different artists did this card, that like one person did the top half and the bottom, I'd be like, no, it looks like one flawless piece, and it all looks like it goes well together, and I could picture this as being like a perfect piece, and it just extends perfectly. So if this is someone's favorite card, I could just see them absolutely floored with joy to have this. So yeah, just fantastic. So besides praising you for your work, yeah, definitely walk us through and what you thought of this piece yourself.
Oh, time out before he ruins this for me. There's one piece there's one detail in this painting that I think is absolutely phenomenal, Ollie, and I know you're going to appreciate me noticing this. At least I hope you do. But if you look on the trim of the dinosaur on the cup of the thing, there's a symbol there that is a Greek key, and basically he carried down the Greek key all the way down the turn there because that's what it was expected and stuff. But that screams like Roman Greek Empire, like so heavy. Like that is like one of their key marks and stuff like that. And by following it down and extending it, like you don't really get the full version of the Greek key. Like even though it's there in the shoulder pads and you see like a touch of it on the real card, but here it makes the Greek key more prominent, and I think that is fantastic. That is one of my favorite things about this card. Okay.
That was also the most painful part of it.
But it was well done.
Thank you. Yeah, no. So this is one of the artworks. There's like, so the artist has gone nuts and provided every part of their artwork, and done amazingly. And like, so you can see all their concept ideas. Like they have like 3 different concepts of the card. It's one of the amazing. So like you get a lot of the detail and like the character, what they're trying to portray, quite a lot through their concept art. So it's quite an easy one to starting point. And when Worlds Collide came off, this was like the most like iconic dinosaur. Like it screams like the Roman Empire of such a like. It's got such key features of all the Roman like ancient like memorabilia, the clothing, the jewelry, the crown, like the headpiece, everything.
The laurels, yeah.
Literally, yeah. And the artist did such a good job on doing that. So like going through all this artwork stuff, it was really fun to do and explore this new extended version of it.
I love how I love how all the like the medallions are like emanating like magical aura. Like it's an interesting like touch to the idea of like how the Saurians became civilized enough to actually kind of become, like, for lack of better terming, like Homo sapien, like being able to interact with, humans, quote unquote. But I mean, I know it's fantasy and stuff like that, but it makes you wonder like how much of, how much amber really does affect the world of the Crucible.
Yeah, and the blue is such like I don't know. Saurians like made that then they had like the turquoise amber.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very, I don't know, Saurian, I guess now. They made it theirs very like promptly with all their artwork.
And I think this would tie in on like a lore aspect of like why in like the game, like the card game itself, you're seeing all this stuff talking about exalted creatures, and so like when you look at cards like this and you're like wondering why like creatures are exalted, like the little bit of the story that I see here is like as he's reading through this book, he's like imbuing himself and he has all this amber on him, and so yeah, if someone ends up defeating the Saurian creature, he's going to be able to take that amber and be able to eventually take it back to his Archon and do something with it. But the Saurians definitely pride themselves with their blue glowing amber, and it's a beautiful looking piece.
Well, and it ties right into their wording and stuff too, right? Like, I mean, it all makes sense. Like, the more you look at it, like, it's crazy. And like,
yeah, that's the biggest like takeaway from doing these artworks. I think it's just like really like delving deep into like the lore of the cards, like the lore of the like, and understanding why they are what they are. Like it's fascinating from playing the game as well.
I think that's part of why me and Dominic wanted, like, as soon as Dominic mentioned doing an art series, I was like, I'm in. Like, I was like instantly like, this is gonna make me love Keyforge even more. And like, out of all the things I do, this is my favorite like show that I produce, like, with Dominic. So like, well, with anybody, like, this is my favorite piece because I love art and I'm a mark for it. So like, this is just phenomenal. So I do have one question about this, and this is it's just a personal question, but how did you decide on the anatomy of the tail?
So they on the full artwork, they do have the tip of that tail.
Mm-hmm.
So with the little ring on like the end of the tail, a little bit jewelry. You get a sneak peek on the other side, but it's just a colourful, vibrant end piece of that's it. You can't really see much more. I didn't. So I looked at a little bit of like raptor-y kind of dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And then tried to make it fit within the same kind of framing as well, because anatomy doesn't really matter if it looks good at a certain point.
Yeah, I mean the tail looks really great. I was just like, I'm looking at the connection on the back, and like it's like
Yeah.
it's a little bit.
It's so like it sneaks up behind the cape.
But I think it
quite a
makes
lot.
I think it makes sense because he's standing so erect. So like I don't think it's wrong. It's just offsetting to me a little bit. But of all the
Yeah,
things,
I can understand that.
and it's like I'm just doing critiquey like type. Like I don't hate it. It's like the one thing that like in this whole piece, that's the one part that I'm like, like I was like,
So there was
I'm
an extra
curious.
piece that I looked at called by Andy Rubel, I think.
Yeah.
He did a 3D model of it.
Oh, okay.
And I also had a look at his version, and his version was a much longer, slender tail,
Okay.
and fell off onto the floor a bit, and like a little bit more like whip-like, which I also liked. But you wouldn't be able to see it on the card.
Yeah, you definitely made it so it's the texture is what's very visible, and I like it. I don't think I'd change anything. I'm just saying like maybe the angle like a little bit more obtuse.
Yeah.
But like this is probably like my favorite one so far. Like this thing is amazing, and I'm really being nitpicky about details again. Like I'm just trying to be creative, like helpful in a creative way, not to take away anything from the amazing work that you did here. But I don't want to just throw flowers at you the whole time.
No.
The Greek key is still amazing. I know how much detail and how much work that is, especially with a fine tip like brush, like doing acrylic. Oh my God, that would drive me nuts. Like I bet you that was probably redone like at least 15 times trying to get the keys to line up right.
Yeah, and then like you're never going to be happy like 100% with it, so you had to leave it eventually. Otherwise you just sat there forever doing the entire thing.
That is an artist's curse.
So we talked about this card for quite a while, and so not to cover all the cards, but was this one a longer process? Most likely was, but like how long did this one take to finalize, and when were you like, okay, I can't touch this one anymore?
So yeah, I think the concept was actually real quick, and like the process of getting it on the paper or on the card was real quick, because like the artist did such a great job at giving you all the information you needed, and like with a little bit of research you could find some other people who's also been inspired by this amazing artwork. So like combining it all, it was quite easy. It's just it was the process of deciding when it was finished. Like I could just retouch and retouch and retouch forever until I got it like exactly how I wanted. But I think I could have gone on forever with this artwork.
But the thing with like art, especially painting and stuff, I've learned is that at some point you have to let it go, because if you don't, you muck it. And then when you muck it, you're basically back to your starting point. Like, and for people who haven't painted, it's kind of hard to figure this out. Like that stopping point for an artist is probably the trickiest thing in art. Like for painting, like I hate it because like I'm like you. It's like I want to touch. Like, oh man, it drives me nuts. But like lucky for me, my fiance likes impressionism, so she likes color pop and like impressionistic things. But I'm like more of a realist, so learning to paint impressionistic has kind of helped me a little bit with that. But at the same time, I still am like, I want more detail, and then like my impressionism looks almost pseudo, like it's like pseudo realistic.
That's what college really helped me with, because I love the realism. I love that. That's why I went from pencil drawings to this, and now with college, it just went, no, throw it all out the window, and you have to do some very, very vibrant, out there kind of paintings. So that helped with that a lot.
I think college like was a curse for me, because it made me feel like people were trying to shape my art, and you know, like the artistic mind wants to do what you want to do, like, and then when you get like tried to put into like a lane because they're trying to teach you something, it kind of conflicts directly with an artist's like passion, like, right? So it kind of drains you the longer I think you do it. And I think I just ran out of like caring about what my teachers told me, and I think it has to do with your teacher, because when I first went went to college, I had two great teachers, and I was through my sophomore year, I was killing it. Like I was loving it, and I was having a good time with it and stuff like that. But then we switched both teachers. One retired, and the other one left, and we had two brand new teachers, and they happened to be like abstract slash like really like modern type of artists where my others were classic. So like going from classic to modern like just didn't suit me well, and like I would have never went to that school if I had met those two teachers. So it became hard.
Yeah,
But
teachers are definitely the key. I think you're right.
but anyhow, well, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, this all sounds like sin work to me, and it sounds like you're very prideful to both of you about you guys' work. So
That was the
speaking
worst
about
transition you've
sins,
ever done. Just kidding.
Wow.
You're calling
Wow.
us prideful. That's evil. We're not evil. We're just enjoying art. Just kidding.
I had to diss you at some point.
But hey,
I
did I hurt your pride?
you didn't hurt my pride. This is just the way.
This is what we do at least once every episode. All bad puns, but let's move on to our next piece, which is pride. And why don't you give a shout out for your Twitch channel, Ollie? Because I know that you've been doing live work. Because I watched you paint this one. So why don't you shout that out?
That is Sigil of Brotherhood. I started up with my brother, but the whole thing that's gone on for the last 2 years kind of halted that.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't been playing much Keyforge or anything. So we've had to. So I've been using it for painting cards, and I shall be painting the rest of the sins on there too.
Awesome, that's gonna be great. And altar seems to be something you do really well. So I think you're all right with the altar. As speaking of altars, like this piece is amazing. I'll let Dominic go first again because like I'm gonna get into this thing too. So
yeah. So first of all, sin cards. Like everyone, I was chasing a sin deck. I was lucky enough to get a 6 sin deck. But sins in the card game are amazing. Like I love the concept. I love the aspect of it. And I love all the art, and I was looking at the artist that originally did all these, and I won't try to butcher the name. It's Michel. I'm not. No, I'm gonna butcher it, so I won't
Georgi.
Go there. Yeah.
Georgi.
These.
I don't know.
But this art is absolutely fantastic. I love all the cards. I love them quite a bit, and I 100% love what you did here because the extension where you're adding these stairs and you're adding more to the top as well. It just makes Pride look even more prideful, and it almost makes it look like Pride is standing instead of like sitting down, because too prideful to sit. It almost looks like standing on top of these stairs to this big throne. So I always picture Pride as well as it being the centerpiece of the 7 sins, and being and what I would eventually love to see, if you ever go this far, is I would love to see and try to take this challenge on to not only extend the arts, but I would love to see you be challenged and take all the art pieces and just have them as one long piece of art. I'm not sure if that's possible at all, but that would be extremely cool. But as far as this specific card, the stairs look super cool. I love that you get the red flowing down from the stairs, so the extra material from the creature itself. I love the drapes that are on the top, and again, it's impossible to tell where the card started and where you finished it and extended it yourself, unless, of course, like Jupiter and myself, and probably a few hundred others that have watched the video and seeing you in this painstaking going through and painting it, and I'm like, I couldn't even like. You wouldn't want to see me try to do this. This would be absolutely terrible, but the work that you did here is absolutely gorgeous and beautiful, right? So,
Yeah, so texture, man, you killed it. Like so much good texture here. I think it's also interesting the way that this sin is created and the way that you incorporated the stairs, because it makes me feel like the sin is standing in a recessed, like a recessed pit almost, because of the head length. Like you tend to make it like want to be human, so you want like a 5 head length, 5 to 6 head lengths, depending, and with the leg kicked up, the way that the knee is like bent and stuff like that, it looks like she's or it. I don't know what to call it, but it's basically like standing in like a recess, like in the angle of the stairs plays to that, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think that it adds just a better like sin type chemistry to it. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I'm gonna pretend like I'm gonna say it was, because I watched you paint to some of it and it seemed very intentional. So also the thing I like is that you took down the lighting in this picture like really well. Like the original card is a little bit brighter than I think than what you painted, and you kind of dulled it out. It made it more like I feel like that Pride is sitting in hell. Like this is like a cathedral in hell. Like and you brought that out just by darkening the tones and bringing things down in a way that made sense to me, like visually. So, man, this thing is just kick ass. Like all the sins are already awesome artworks, and I think that you did them a lot of justice by doing what you did here. And I love the draping ribbons coming down the stairs. Like when you were painting it, I was lost at what these cross points were going to be, because I was like, well, bricks are going to be even, so those things are something completely different, and I don't know what he's doing until you actually painted them red, and I went, oh, pretty amazing, great job.
Yeah, no. So I think my biggest the biggest thing that made me like think of the like what the card was meant to be is like its flavor text,
Hmm.
which was like of all of Lord of Midias's demonic court, none stand higher than Pride.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
makes.
that's why she's on the altar, right? Like at the very top of it, and
Yeah,
she has
so
the
like
orb as well, so that's crazy.
yeah, everything just kicks in. Like, oh, okay, it's like Pride, like this makes Pride like they are the best. Like that's what they want. So at the top of the stairs, at the right of the altar, are like light shiny down on them.
Hmm.
Everything, yeah. It's like and like all like the drapes and all that, like that's all a part of like when they're drawing you into this one into how great Pride is. But yeah, I think this one was. I knew what I was doing straight away from that flavor text. I think the stairs and everything just all kicked in then. Like the artwork on itself is amazing. Like all of the scenes are amazing. So I was plenty to work from as well. And
Yeah.
like I think he's put all of like the full resolution artwork as well all up.
Hmm.
So I got to see like every little bit of detail and stuff. Like I just love like the armor plating on the creature and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, this is definitely insane, but you also have to remember too, like another thing that makes your paintings amazing is that I would say 95, that's being very generous. Like I think it's probably closer to 99% of the people who do artwork for FFG are doing it on like computer graphics. Like they're doing it like through
Yeah,
a program doing it on design. And you're matching this like computer quality pixel rate to to acrylic, and that's skillful. Like the amount of work and like professionalism that you have in your art is very 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 high, and I just want to make sure that people understand that he's matching digital images which can be super clean, super cut, like very detailed to look at, to a painting, like and painting it with a brush, like that takes a tremendous amount of effort, and the amount of like the types of textures and stuff that you pull off and stuff like that make the card even better, because now you have this high res like image in the middle, but you have all this awesome artwork around it. So like kudos to that process. I think that you're amazing.
thanks. Yeah, like I think the as you said, like darkening it down really emphasize on like the grittiness of like the sins and the hell and like what this is really.
Hmm.
Which is what I really enjoyed doing, like just darkening it, dirtying it, like scratches, grunge everywhere.
Yeah.
It's quite fun. Yeah, it was a fun one to paint. I think I'm very excited to do the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see the rest of them.
100%. And when we upload this, we'll definitely have to send a link to this specific video so that people can see just exactly what Jupiter is talking about when he's talking about taking the digital art that is coming from this and then just painting it by hand. And as you guys were talking, I was actually going back and rewatching the video and be like, yep, I couldn't do any of this, and this is gorgeous piece of work. And I'm looking at how you're matching everything and all the little fine detail work, right? It's a super awesome little piece.
I
All
also
right.
loved your idea of having all 7 sins. Like, I think that's something I might have to look into.
I,
There's
I,
also, like, some other
there's a
cards that
reason.
work well with that.
There was a reason why I mentioned it. I mean, I think that would be a beautiful piece, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, like Pride in the middle and all the rest around. That would be amazing, I think.
Yeah, that'd be
I've
pretty
seen
awesome.
some Pokemon alters do that, make a scene out of the Pokemon, but they paint the entire scene out and just have the figure.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that would be really interesting to do. I just have to find all the cards again.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Of course, yeah.
Well, that is we're about to wrap the show up, but in Ollie's generosity, he decided that he would break a new card that he hasn't shown anybody yet on our show. So, with that said, Dominic, why don't you take us into our next piece of alien artwork?
Ollie generosity. The only generous people around here are Martians. So let's talk about one of everyone's favorite cards, the Martian generosity, that Ollie has gracefully extended this art that we just recently talked about just 2 episodes ago, where we talked about everyone's favorite card, Martian generosity. And the extension here is just absolutely fantastic and looks great. The best part about this is having his weapon there. Now I understand why this the owner of this shop is in fear of this Mars creature just a tiny little bit more. He doesn't want to be take that gun to the face in, but this Mars creature probably doesn't even need to threaten him. He just puts his hand down. He's like, yeah, give me my discount that I want. Yeah, great little piece. I love the fact that you added the gun in there. I don't know if there was any thing within the concept art or if that was 100% yourself. Yeah, was this something that you decided on your own end, or was there any hints of this?
So yeah, no, I decided that on my own because I drew a blank on how to fill that space because the perspective of the card is just more of that counter basically.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to fill that space with something, otherwise it's just going to be just a plain yellow counter. So I thought the gun just really speaks to its like demeanor. He's like he's got like this Clint Eastwood scowl on him, like so just a bit of a kicker to the like I don't know, the Wild West like attitude he's got on him with like a little pistol or something.
I can't unsee Clint Eastwood now. Thank you.
Yeah, as soon as you mentioned that, I was like, yep. So
Nailed it. We were talking about like how he's like he had an aged look to his face and stuff, but never put him on Clint Eastwood. Now that you said that, now it's kind of like the Tipsy Time Travelers with Chuck Norris. It's like can't unsee it once you see it. Like, and now it's like forever. Martian Generosity will be Clint Eastwood as an alien. But one thing I did like this question for you is the gun. Is there a place? Did you make this up off of your own like thought process, or did you see an image of one of their guns somewhere that you took from? Because the I asked this because you made the pistol grip absolutely perfect for his hand, like with the 2 holes and the thumb spot. Like I'm like, man, this is like a perfect anatomy. Like it's exactly how I would view like one of their guns to look. So like I'm pretty stoked by that. Plus the perspective here is really good too. Like you were able to keep that linear perspective to give that pull that thing forward in a way that is it works like 100%. So, and that's a hard thing to do as well. And then the color pops and being able to pull the oranges and the greens through the gun and the blues and stuff that were in the background and basically continue the color scheme. Um, Super appreciative of that. Like, so absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, again, another shout out to David Kegg, like amazing concept art. So like one of the Mars concept arts is one of the best ones, I think. It's like it explains like what's in the guns, what powers the guns, what kind of like they had like different pilots, different kind of Martians, and like they had a gun set list, and they had a bunch of different types of guns, and so I've just like had a little bit of combining and like a little bit of inspiration of like creating your own. Like, so I wanted like a pistol. They didn't have many pistols. They had like a lot of like what Zizix the Mini was holding, like big rifles, like the Marauder weapon. So yeah, like a lot of inspiration from that, and like looking at all the other cars and trying to create like I don't know, something that would fit this character.
It looks great.
No,
It looks like a shotgun to me, and like now that you said he's Clint Eastwood, I believe it.
Yeah, 100%. And now that you mentioned David Cake's concept art, and you're taking your own version and your own vision of it, I definitely can see the weapons. And I'm looking at the bottom one of all the weapons, and I'm seeing that same pistol grip that you have referenced here, where it's laying down versus it's just a sideways in the concept art. And it's a very fantastic piece, and it got me wondering, if you're not only able to extend art pieces like this, have you ever thought about just doing, or have you done yet, a full Keyforge fan art just yourself, where you've done it from top to bottom, and you're like, you know what? There's a card that I want to do an alternate version of with my own idea.
So that is actually my next step. I want to do. I really want to change some of the artwork for some of the cards that, like, just could do with just a different like perspective, like just a different like story to be told. Like I don't know. I think there's one that I really want to have a look at, and some of the Worlds Collide this stuff, because it's like in the fringes. Like I just really want to see it vibrant, really kicking, like pinks and everything. I just want to go crazy with like some sort of, I don't know, abstract-ish pink visuals with the E in the fringes. I think that'd be really nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement in that card naturally, so yeah, I think you're right. Um, Man, dude, it was an honor to have you on the show, and have you come talk about your artwork. And thank you so much for sharing, the things that you've created in this new Martian Generosity piece. I hope like somebody will have this. If I don't know if this was a commission or if it was a personal project, but this was great. Like this is simplicity at its finest, and sometimes simple is better. And I think you nailed it. So Clint Eastwood, it is forever.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. It was really fun to talk through it and talk to you guys.
So yeah, and I was just gonna say you're more than welcome to come on if you want to be definitely a guest host, especially with you doing all the alt arts. I'm sure if Jupiter feels the same, that if you want to come on and talk with us, reviewing some of these beautiful arts, it might even inspire you after you got your next set of projects through. Maybe, who knows? Maybe that will be your next card, whichever one we cover, right? So.
I'd love to. I love looking through the artwork. So yeah, I'd love to explain and see different people's perspectives on the art. So you've already changed my mind on the Ronnie Risclock's Invisible buy. So
I think it's hilarious. Like I want to see that one. You need two footsteps. That's all it would have took. Like it would have been totally sold on the idea there's an invisible person there. You could even have them decloaking, like starting to decloak. And that's why there's one on top of the chest. I don't know. Lots of stories.
Yeah,
That's one thing me and Dominic. Yeah, that's one thing that me and Dominic love to do with these cards is just like telling the story. Like, and I think that all of your extensions have been like altering. Like, and a good example is like Martial Generosity. We already had a story, and I think you just made our story even stronger. So like, it was great.
100%. Yeah. Again, thank you for coming on and just talking about your cards with us. It's been greatly appreciated, Ollie.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's fun.
All right. So plug yourself one more time in your channel.
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram under Archon _Alters. And I'm doing live paintings on my Twitch, which is Sigil of Brotherhood.
Yeah, so make sure you check him out. We'll have links in the description below this video. Also, he is a regular at KFPL events, and he is not ever that far from qualifying. Close but no cigar, but
Keep on missing them by a fraction.
yeah, I expect to see you soon in the KFPL. But as a teaser for that, I will tell you this, Ollie, since you're here and you shared something with us, I'll share something with you. There is going to be a reward for persistent players that barely miss coming up in the next season of qualifiers.
It's very exciting.
I'm just
I
gonna.
shall be joining.
I was like, I'm gonna leave it at that because it's not finalized. But we are in the discussion now of how we pay off these people like the Not Two Knights and the Ollies and stuff that basically come and put their heart and time into trying to qualify and just miss by the slimmest of margins. Like it's always like the feel bad. Like the first season I gave away a Fuzzy Gruen. This season we actually extended 8 slots because of the malfunction of the event that we had. So like I think that like those people on the fringes have always been somewhat compensated, but now we have a way to make it so that your persistence and your commitment to us is going to pay off for you. So that's a tease, and hopefully you guys love it.
I'm very excited. It's been great playing them.
Yeah, but I mean, you have the KFPL to watch now, and the games have been absolutely fantastic so far. We're doing live streams on Twitch and stuff. I actually have one tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to be Kjorns versus Kidman, so Portugal versus Italy. There's probably no like I love Kjorns to death, but Portuguese, I can't say no. I got to cheer for them inside my heart. Even though I'm supposed to be neutral, I cannot be neutral. It's Keyforge. But with that said, this is Fifth Planet Keyforge, Jupiter from Manlius, New York, and I have with me my co-host
Dominic from the A team, and I also have my channel, Fire Chicken Reviews, and we'll be doing a review coming up shortly for a table that FFG and Geek and Sons have worked together that they also had a Kickstarter for. So watch out for that. That's going to be coming out soon.
Yep. So, and thank you to our special guest Ollie for taking the time, a late night for him to come out and talk about his artwork. It's phenomenal, and I hope you didn't mind us drooling on your pieces. I think they're in a sleeve, so they should be okay. But we'll catch you guys next time. So keep forging, and we'll catch you on the flip side.